Have you guys heard the term alternate economy? It's like this attempt to work with companies that are not run by a bunch of woke leftists that want to deplatform you for your values and your belief systems. I'd like to introduce you to Precision Pay. Precision Pay is a dedicated payment network built for the Second Amendment and outdoor recreation community, turning payments into a powerful network of shared values that prioritizes privacy, lower costs, and uninterrupted service, all without the risk of being deplatformed by these leftist nut jobs. Join Precision Pay to pay securely by bank without the privacy risks of credit cards. Save money and support our community. Enjoy promotions, discounts, and content. Membership is free. Folks, dedicated payment network built for the Second Amendment and outdoor recreation community is right up my alley. Help America, help yourself. Check out Precision Pay at myprecisionpay.com. I only look for a few things when it comes to a hunting pack. And I've run a lot of different packs over the years, between my time in the military to when I was a kid running around the mountains with that Vietnam-era Army-Navy surplus one I bought, to all the packs I've had now, some very high-dollar ones to some very cheap ones. There's a lot of things I like, but the things that are important to me is it needs to be water-resistant, it needs to be good at load-bearing, it needs to, help prevent that sweat that builds up between your back and the actual pack that drives me crazy. And it needs to be functional. I like to have the proper pouches and a good belt pouch and things to set up and accommodate the way that I like to hunt. Man, I tell you what, the Mystery Ranch has achieved all those things in both packs that I have, between the Sawtooth 45 and the Sawtooth 65. You can also get the Beartooth 85 and the Marshall 105, depending on how much time you want to spend in the backcountry. I couldn't recommend this pack more. It's super functional. It's great at packing meat. It's great at packing everything that I need for the day, whether I'm guiding or if I'm just hunting. It keeps the water out. Super functional pack. Couldn't recommend them high enough. Check it out at mysteryranch.com/mysterium and let them know the Western Huntsman sent you.
There exists a threat, from anti-hunting groups to politicians trying to give our land away, and we won't stand for it. Those vast western landscapes provide the space for our wildlife to thrive and a place for hunters and anglers to fuel the fire that sparks their soul. In this show, we share our love of hunting, fishing, and conservation. Here, we provide the foundation to meet these threats through passion and the grit of the American outdoorsman. Welcome to the Western Huntsman Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of the Western Huntsman Podcast. This is Jim Huntsman, your host, coming at you not from the Broken Time studio this time. I'm coming at you from the Harlow Ranch, the Bison Ranch here in northwest Montana that I've grown quite fond of, not only because it's a beautiful place to be, but the people that operate this ranch and manage this land, they really care, and I'm really excited to share their story about it. Albeit a little bit of wind you're going to hear in the microphone because we're sitting out here. It's 51 degrees, very nice, and hopefully it doesn't rain on us, Melinda, but I appreciate you joining me.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thank you.
So, as promised, I'm going to need you to say your last name,
Anakalea.
Anakalea. So explain that. I want to kind of dive into your background, how you grew up, and how, because I know the story, but I want people to kind of know your story, and
Sure.
and I think that it speaks a lot to what we're going to talk about with your bison operation.
Okay. Well, I got the name from my husband, Adam. He is Native Hawaiian, and I grew up in Spokane, Washington. I got to Hawaii after bouncing around quite a bit and spent 22 years over there. I met Adam and we had our kids, and then we needed to get back to Spokane, help take care of my mom. Mom moved to assisted living, and Adam and I got to move to the ranch to help take care of things out here.
And so this ranch has been in your family for how long?
Since 1919.
Wow.
Yeah.
Over 100 years.
Pretty nuts.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
And it wasn't always a bison ranch.
No. In 1919, my great-grandparents bought the Squaw Creek Fruit Ranch, and it was apple trees and strawberries.
Okay.
And it was 1,000 acres.
Uh-huh.
And then they had this big house built behind the camera there by their oldest son, who was 17 when he built it. He came out and put together a crew and got that house built. And then the 2 younger boys moved out here, and they started doing sheep and a little bit of cattle.
Okay.
So sheep for quite a while, and then they made it through the Great Depression, and my grandpa stayed on the ranch. His 2 brothers moved on. Grandpa started a dairy in the 40s, and then a milk bottling and delivery business in the 50s.
Oh, cool. So
Yeah.
he was like the old school milkman.
Yes.
Oh, how cool is that?
Yeah.
From his own cows.
Yes.
Interesting.
He put together a golden Guernsey herd, and he had a border collie named Biff that would go fetch the cows and bring them in some milk, and then they started the delivery. We still have a lot of the milk bottles that were used in the
Really?
dairy, and a few of the bottle caps that say Harlow Dairy on them.
Huh. That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So when I say I know the story, I don't really know the whole story.
There's a lot of the story. 100 years is
I
a
mean,
lot of
yeah,
story.
it really is. 7 years now going on, and so as a kid, did you come to the ranch a lot to visit Grandpa, kind of thing, and got to know the land?
Yeah. Granny and Grandpa retired when I was about 8 years old, but we spent all of our summers and weekends up here from birth on. They retired and moved to Lincoln City, and my dad took over the cattle. Grandpa had switched to beef cattle by then, probably tired of the rigor of a dairy. And so Dad took over the beef, but it was too much. He was still working full-time in Spokane. So after about 5 years, he sold his cows and leased the place to cattle ranchers. And we were still able to come and, spend a lot of time here working. We had a couple of horses, and we got to buck bales for the cattle guys in the summer, and 25 cents a bale.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's changed a little bit, hasn't it?
A little bit. Yeah, and then I took off when I was 16 and bounced all around, got to Hawaii, and never really thought I'd come back, but when I met Adam, I brought him out here for, part of the interview, and I said, I don't know what it's going to look like, but someday this ranch is going to be my responsibility. And he was like, oh, this is great. Yeah, this is
Really?
fabulous. We
I
need
wondered-
to live here.
I wondered that because I think of like in the dead of winter, and we're sitting here in northwest Montana, and there's wind and blizzards and snow and cold, and a guy that grew up in Hawaii, one of the most uniquely tropical, beautiful places on the planet, thought it was a good idea to move here and deal with the winters.
Yeah, he thought it'd be cool to live in Montana.
Oh, that's awesome.
But it's actually cold.
I knew I liked him.
Yeah. Yeah, and he loves the winter. He thinks it's his still
Does he?
after, we've been here in America for going on 9 years, I guess. And he still likes it.
Does he?
I still really don't, but
Yeah. I have mixed emotions about winter in Montana, but yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So the opportunity came up. So you were telling him, okay, at some point, this family ranch of ours is going to be my responsibility. Was at that when you were saying that, were you thinking that you would move here and operate a bison farm or ranch, or no? That materialized down the road, huh?
Yeah. My dad's strategy was to lease it out, and it was essentially paying for itself. The property taxes, the insurance were paid, and make a living doing something else.
Gotcha.
And so I figured that maybe I should just do that, just keep it leased out. But I had developed such a passion for agriculture. In Hawaii, we were leasing 5 acres from the neighbors, and I was running sheep and goats and pigs and rabbits and
Really?
horses.
Okay.
And Adam was dabbling in rodeo stuff in Hawaii, so we just really wanted to be here and do it.
I
So.
think that So a lot of those details I just didn't know, and that makes a lot more sense to me. This is in your guys' heart, and maybe it just took some time to get to the point where it's like, you know what, let's just full on move to Montana and take over this ranch. And where did the oh, by the way, for those of you listening, if you're watching on the YouTube, you can see the bison behind us. Which was kind of perfect. I understand. I know there's a little bit of wind in the microphones, but it's worth it for the view and the view of the bison back there. There's a fence, right? They're not going to come over here. No, I'm kidding. So where did that from there develop into this idea of doing this regenerative bison ranch operation that you guys have now?
So when we were moving to the ranch, my dad put me in charge of managing the timber. It's about 1,000 acres of timber and 1,000 acres of pasture. And so we were going to all kinds of forestry classes and really learning, how to best manage the timber for fire and disease and just general forest health. And forestry is very regenerative when done right.
Sure.
And where my grandpa actually joined the Montana Tree Farm in 1945, so we're still in the tree farm today, and they're very regenerative. They're about keeping the forests healthy and going and thriving and in business, production, forestry. And so one of the forestry classes, one of the teachers was a bison rancher.
Oh, okay.
And it randomly came up in conversation, and he was very blunt when he figured out the situation. He said, "Oh, you guys are at the Harlow? You got to get bison."
Really?
And we were like, "What? Are you kidding? Bison?"
It was like that? Your reaction was like, what? That it was just far-fetched in your mind, or what?
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
But it was like, okay, maybe. And then we went and looked at his bison, and they were pretty nuts. There's lots of different levels of bison behavior. Okay. Based on how often they see people and just kind of how they're managed, what size of grazing ground they have. Mm-hmm. So he had about 25 head on like 1,000 acres, and they could run and do whatever they wanted. They never saw people, so they saw us and they took off running in a total stampede, and it was like crazy. But it was captivating at the same time. Yeah. It was like, oh my gosh, they're cool. Like,
they are cool.
They're a little scary, but they're cool. So then we went to a couple different ranches and ended up purchasing our first 18 head from a guy who was running 100 head on 100 acres. So they were more contained. He fed them every day, so they were a lot more used to people.
They're more like a golden retriever out there.
Yes, than a greyhound. So this pasture that they're in right now was the first pasture that we had to use. There was still a cattle lease, and that was like in the lease we could have that pasture. So we put a 5-wire high tensile hot fence around that and put our first 18 head in there.
Curious, I've always wondered with our bison, are they harder to contain than cattle?
Sort of.
Are they?
Yeah, yes and no. We get cattle in the summer. We lease grass to about 40 pair of beef cows. And all summer long, those cows are testing the hot wire. They will just touch that fence every day with their nose, or just get their nose, close enough so they can tell.
Feel the radiant, yeah.
And if it's off, they're going through it.
Really?
And they're like, "Come on, friends." And usually not the whole herd goes, but 2 or 3 have gone astray. Yeah. The bison, when we had the big fire, we had to turn the fence off so that Forest Service could get in and out however they needed to without worrying about the fence. And the bison never tested it. They never cared. It was off for a month.
Wow.
And they were fine.
It's amazing. I want to tell, like, from my standpoint, the first time, I don't even know if you remember this, Melinda, but the first time I met you, and I don't think I met Adam at that point. I don't for some reason, he wasn't around, or he was busy. Maybe he was out rodeoing buffalo or some bison, and anyway, the first time was I found it was either a Facebook post or like a website we came across. So we homeschool our kids, and it was like my wife came to me and she's like, hey, this ranch does these bison tours. And you can get in this truck and go feed them treats and stuff. And I'm like, man, that'd be awesome. We're always like, when the kids were young, now they're teenagers, and they wouldn't think it's as cool as they did back then. But we were always looking for these unique activities and these learning experiences for them. And so we came out here, we met you. You got us in the back of that big caged up truck or whatever, and drove us out, and we're feeding these bison. And it was just this really cool experience. It was only us. It was my wife and I and our 2 girls. And I still have a bunch of pictures from it.
Nice.
And it was really cool. And then, it turns out as I'm guiding, we were having some access out here, and I learned, one of my clients learned a really good lesson about your electric fences.
Oh, no.
That I warned him, but he didn't listen. And so that was a shocking experience for him. But anyway, what I noticed is spending time, I've had the fortune and opportunity to spend a lot of time out here. And what sets this place apart, and I was telling you this before we started recording, but this wire keeps tripping up on my watch. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. There, that'll work. What really sets this place apart is you guys have this keen focus on the healthy land that is healthier for the animals, and not just catered to domesticated animals versus the wildlife, because the wildlife absolutely thrive here. And I could tell you, from a guy who's spent a lot of time on a lot of different properties and ranches, and whether it's hunting or I grew up on working some ranches and whatnot, it's a very healthy place. The animals are healthy, the wildlife is healthy, the forests are insanely healthy, and the pastures are really good looking. And it's just that's a unique thing and a rare thing, and it speaks to how you and Adam really care for this lifestyle, the land. You care for the animals. You're not trying to if you're, again, for those of you that are able to watch this, the video portion of it, if you look behind us, those mountains are great elk habitat, and a lot of landowners have this thing where they're trying to keep the wildlife off the land and cater it to cattle or in your case bison or whatever. That's not the case here. You guys live within the confines of what nature provided you, and you make it healthy and better for every living species on it. Kudos to that, because we need more people like this. We need more people that care, because a lot of people don't care. All they care about is how much they're going to get and how much money they can charge for a bale of hay or what. And I shouldn't say that. That's not all they care about, but that's the priority, where you guys tend to prioritize what is best for everything living here, and how do we make it sustainable and for the long term. Where does that come from? Where does that idea come from, and what motivated you to do that?
Gosh, it just kind of makes more sense, and it's actually less expensive.
Is it?
Yeah. Working with nature, following nature, you have a huge partner in your business, versus trying to fight against it using, chemicals and everything you can to fight against what nature's doing is just a losing battle.
Sure.
So we work to make the whole ecosystem work together. And bison are perfect for that, because they are still wild animals. They still work with nature. They breed in a season, they calve in a season, they manage themselves essentially. Whereas more domesticated species, you have to manage them. And then I think that puts you in the mindset that you have to manage everything. And you need to spray this poison over there and kill that and do this. And we just really try to focus on growing things rather than killing things. One of our first bison versus cattle experiences was at a soil class in Hot Springs with Nicole Masters. Since then, it was like there was a little yurt and a bunch of people outside by some apple trees. Now she's like worldwide famous.
Oh, really?
Has a book and teaches all over. But back then, and it was just about learning the health of the soil and how to make the soil healthy. There's a microbiome in the soil that mirrors the microbiome in our guts, And so anyone who's, tried to make their gut more healthy, it's the same concept in the soil. You don't want to kill all the bugs.
See, that makes sense to me. Nobody's explained that part. That makes sense to me. Okay.
Yeah. Go on. And there was a cattle rancher and a bison rancher there. And so we're talking to both of them. We're still trying to decide what species we're going to use to eat the grass. And the bison rancher actually said, well, you can just put out a bunch of hay and go back to Hawaii in the winter for a couple weeks. The bison will be fine. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's it. It's sold.
So, actually, before we go there, can you explain for people that don't know what is regenerative ranching? What how do you define that?
So, for us, it's having a focus on the soil. Ranching, of course, implies that there's animals involved, but you can do regenerative ranching with any species of animal. And for us, it's the soil. We take soil tests every year or two, and so excited that the scores keep getting better and better. Mm-hmm. It means we're rotating the pastures. We're trying to keep living roots in the soil rather than tilling it up or cultivating things.
Is that why, I've seen in this part of the state, there's a few different bison operations, right? Mm-hmm. And some of them, and even cattle operations, and I grew up with around a lot of cattle, they would live in this just real dirty, muckety, muddy, swampy nastiness, and they never came out of that. It looked like the ground was dead, right? And you get out of that and you go 100 feet the other direction, and the ground is fertile and it's alive, but there's no cattle on it. Is that part of it, allowing that soil to recover after the animals have been on it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, 100%.
Because I'm trying to learn this a little bit more too. So that recovery, I think, it from a layman looking in, and I look at all your pastures and how green they are. It's still technically winter. Actually, no. Did we hit spring?
First day of spring
is
today.
It is first day of spring today. Okay, interesting. So it's March 20th, folks, for those of you listening. But everything looks like it's greening up very nicely. I mean, it's just healthy, and so that recovery must be an important part of it, huh?
Yeah, and not letting the animals chew the grass down to the dirt.
Okay.
You want to leave ideally 6 inches of grass, which can be hard if you only start with 6 inches.
Sure.
They don't have much to eat before you're going into the trouble zone for the plants.
And do they, just like the nature of bison, is that, boy, we're getting some a good gust of wind here. Hang on. Sorry for the background noise, guys, but it's worth it to sit outside and record. I don't get to record outside often enough. I much prefer this. This is way better. So, what was I asking? Oh, the bison. Just like the nature and how they feed. They're usually kind of eating from the top down, and then you're able to head them off at the pass from continuing to go down any further, and that's what keeps that vegetation rooted.
Yes,
okay.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay.
And bison eat a lot more forbs and a lot more variety.
Our camera's wobbling over there.
Totally wobbling. We might fall.
Oh well.
A lot more variety than other species, cattle in particular. But sheep as well, and they're kind of similar to goats in that they'll eat the bushes, they'll eat the weeds, what we call forbs, right? Mm-hmm. And so it helps them to eat more of a pasture more uniformly.
Okay.
And there's actually a study, I think it was Kansas State University, did on the bison saliva versus cattle saliva. Uh-huh. When they graze, it's got something magic in it that really helps the plants and the soil and the microbes in the soil.
Like some kind of nutritional value?
Yeah. Or maybe it's a bacterial thing, a good bacteria.
I mean, that makes sense to me. The thing that always strikes me when, as a kid when I got into hunting, I've been a little nutty about hunting my whole life, right? It's just this thing that is developed in me or whatever. But as I get older and kind of mature, as I look at like the conservation or the wildlife management side of it, or the landscape management, habitat improvement type things, I've learned very much that these animals that God designed and put on this earth, everything kind of works together. We wouldn't have the trees up on top of those mountains without the elk going up there and pooping.
Right.
And so it's fascinating to me to learn this. Was that a surprise for you when you got into this, to kind of, it sounds like you started deep diving into it in Hawaii on that 5-acre plot, and then coming here and just expanding into this massive bison ranch and this operation. It's so cool. What surprised you the most getting into this?
I guess the ease of it, because if you're not fighting against nature, for example, it's way easier. And growing up with the cattle here, the ranchers, they had to build a big calving barn. It's like our nicest barn, because they have to take the cows in to help them calve, and they have to track everything and manage everything, and they worked really, really hard. And we kind of just don't have to.
Don't you? Because they just calve out. Yeah. They don't need assistance, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they really wouldn't let you if they did.
Yeah.
So I've heard a few stories of bison cows that have been helped when a calf was stuck, but it's very rare. And their genetics, they're not bred for anything besides being bison, so they're not changed to have trouble calving.
So have you, on kind of that note, have you had any issues with aggressive bison coming? I mean, that's going to be one of the things that people listening are going to always think about. Well, wait a minute, because they can be pretty aggressive. Yes.
We've only had a few, and they've all gone to the butcher. Well, actually, that's not true. There's one still out there. She doesn't have a tag. And we have like 5 probably that all look alike. They're about the same age, and they don't have tags. So I don't know which one was the crazy one.
Pardon the interruption, but let's take a quick break to hear from our sponsors. A couple things I really love: American-made products and bow hunting. When you can put the two together, it just makes sense. It's a great combination, especially for me. I love this Easton Archery 6.5 bow hunter arrow. I've been pulling that thing back for a long time with this arrow and sent them flying all over the place. So, guys, Easton Archery is a great partner for the Western Huntsman. It fits our values. It fits everything that we believe in. And American manufacturing is back, and it's ready to take over again like it used to be and how it should be. Whether it's hunting arrows, target arrows, components, stabilizers, accessories, you can shop it all, build your own arrows, whatever you want to do. Check it all out at eastonarchery.com for a full lineup, or check out your local retailer because they're probably going to have them too. Again, check it out, eastonarchery.com. Love these guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for those who support our sponsors. Let's get back to the show.
Okay. But it's typically the cows are the aggressive ones, not the bulls. And they've been just like, if they're protecting their baby, it's fine.
Sure.
Like, then good job, Mom. I'll get back in my truck, and we'll see you another day. But the 3 incidents were just kind of a little bit off, a little bit kooky females that would just come for me, just out of nowhere, either walking or even at a full-on run, like, I'm taking you out.
Really?
And yeah, one time we have those rattle paddles, if you're familiar with those. Yep. And I was up in the corral, and this young heifer, I think she was maybe 3, didn't have a baby, had no reason to act the way she was acting, and she just came running for me, and I took that rattle paddle like a baseball bat, and I cracked her right in the head, and it gave me just enough time to jump up on the corral panel.
Oh, jeez.
And she kind of stopped and shook her head like, what did you just do? And
wow.
She went straight to the butcher.
I don't blame you. Well, that's and the other thing, and we were talking about the health of the herd and the health of the land and the forest and everything combined. I don't know what the science is, but behind all that you're explaining, the science. For me, what I know is I've mentioned this on the show a few times for those listening, that my daughter had the opportunity to come out and get a bison that was like a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
So we've had the meat back. It's not the first bison I've put in the freezer. Why is it that your bison tastes so much better? Like what is it about these bison here that are just, it is, not only does it taste better, but you feel better after eating it. It's like you're energized and motivated, or so. It's so hard to explain and put words to, but I can tell you, we have for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, we kind of exclusively, we don't buy beef from the store. It's generally bison, and this bison has the leftover bison I had in the freezer before from a different place. Is still in there because I'm neglecting it.
Oh, no.
I'm going to give that stuff away. What sets your meat apart, I guess?
Gosh, that is an incredible compliment. Thank you.
Well, I want you to know it's genuine. It's a genuine compliment. It's not because you're on the podcast. It's really, really good.
And I'm not 100% sure. We put our heart and soul into these animals. Our purpose, their purpose, is to become meat eventually. Even the older animals will, utilize for burger. I think, I know I like to be useful, so I think they would like to be useful too, and not just, have an accident or a death that wasn't useful.
Sure.
And we take good care of the grass. The one that you got was just on grass. We typically finish animals in the corral for about 6 weeks on a combination of hay and range cake, which is like an alfalfa pellet, and then some grain, and they choose what they want to eat in the corral, just to kind of levelize the meat, the flavors and all that. When they're on grass, we're pretty particular about the harvest. We won't do it if the grass isn't predictable. So that was a good time of year. She was mostly on hay. And
is that a thing? Like time of year makes a big difference as to, I think about even something simple like deer hunting. If you shoot a buck that is in the full peak of the rut, they can be a little raunchy.
Yeah.
Right? And so is that kind of a thing as well with bison? Do you have cycles that you kind of pay attention to before butchering?
Yes. And we learned that the hard way. We got an Angus beef steer, and we were raising him up to put in our freezer. And it was a beautiful day. I think it was June, and he was fat and shiny and healthy, and we're like, oh, okay, let's do it. We'll get a date at the butcher, and we took him in, and they said, oh, what a great carcass and all this. And it was funky.
Was it?
Yeah. And so I told, one of our bison mentors, and he was like, oh, you don't harvest off grass in the spring. I was like, what?
Oh, okay.
Because the grass is the green grass is too much protein. It's not the right mixture. It's not good finishing grass. So if you're going to get a grass finished animal, you want it actually finished, not just killed off of the grass.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
And with hunting, it's usually in the fall when the grass is browned out and it's cured and it's more carb than protein.
Okay.
So they're probably putting a little fat on for winter, and the flavors just kind of mellow out, except for the rut. The rut screws all that up.
When is the rut?
For bison, it's July, August, September.
Oh, okay. And it goes a long time, huh? 3
Yeah.
months. Wow. Wow. It's this stuff is so fascinating. I had a guy on that was a wildlife biologist a few years ago, and he was talking about, a lot of people complain about the taste of mule deer compared against whitetail, right? And he was saying, and I was telling him, but I've never really I had one mule deer that was semi-questionable. Other than that, I've never had a problem with the flavor of a mule deer. And he was saying, well, where do you hunt? And I was kind of explaining where I was hunting. And it's, really high elevation, slow growing or short growing seasons for the vegetation up there. And he was saying that because of the quicker or lack of sunlight compared to lower elevations, it creates this quicker photosynthesis process that I don't know if it's leaves or removes. What do you call the sugary compound, like fructose or something?
Bricks in plants.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sugary complex stays in there at like an exaggerated rate, and it makes that flavor much greater. And so if you compare that against like a prairie sagebrushy mule deer buck, there's a big difference in flavor, and that's where I think mule deer get the rap. So that kind of stuff, I'm just always fascinated with it. How do you determine with, first of all, how many bison do you have on the ranch?
There's about 100 out there.
Okay. How do you determine when it's time for one to go to butcher? Is it usually age? Obviously, the one with attitude problems.
Yes, that gets them bumped right up on the list. Typically, we harvest all the bulls between 2.5 and 3 years old.
Okay.
Once they turn 3, they can start getting into testosterone, and the meat gets tougher. The steaks aren't as good. Still makes great burger, but the steaks might be a little questionable. And then the females, they will naturally breed at 2 and calve at 3. So we'll give them till they're 3, and if they haven't calved, then they get on the list. And we'll take them between 3 and 4.5.
Okay.
They don't get tough very fast.
So the cows don't get as tough as the bulls do.
Right.
Because that one that my daughter got this winter, I know she was an older bison, but there is nothing really tough about her.
Yeah.
Like, what happened? Did you guys beat her up a lot or something?
No, I think we kind of just let her be.
Yeah.
And even, when you did the harvest, she wasn't all stressed out and
yeah, she just thought we were kind of hazing her for a minute, and we'd leave her alone, and
Yeah.
it's a great way. Do you have predation issues on the ranch with bison?
Thank God, no.
Okay.
Their main predators are wolves and grizzlies, and we don't have that yet. So
no wolves yet
good.
Come down, and because I know in these mountains, I know for a fact that there are grizzly bears up there.
Oh man.
And obviously wolves, but I that was always when I was bringing the clients on here too. That's one of the biggest things they were asking is like, well, don't the bears come down and get these bison? And I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think they have a big problem here. What keeps them away, do you think?
I don't know.
Huh. Interesting.
I don't. We have, little cattle dogs that they don't scare away wolves or grizzlies. They keep the coyotes away.
Yeah, there was a coyote on your road as I drove in this morning.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, way far, right?
Yeah.
Just past the gate there.
Yeah.
But
yeah, they don't come around the house.
No.
Our kids have chickens, and no problem with the chickens. And,
I think the dogs do pretty good. I mean, my retriever, who is just kind of a worthless guard dog because he's too friendly, but he does a good job. He keeps all the we had a bobcat lurking around, and then we've got tons of coyotes out there, but they don't come near the house because of him, because he's like, what do they call that when dudes aren't very tough but they talk like they're really tough? There's like a term for it, I can't remember, but he's like that.
Yeah.
Right? And so he's loud. But we went to Hawaii last year, and the moment we left, we lost every last chicken, except for one. One chicken lived, and it was pretty sure it was a little black bear. But so having that dog not there, creating all that ruckus, let them know that they can come in and I thought Melinda, I thought my chicken coop was like bulletproof because I spent a lot of time on it. Nah, they got into it immediately after we left because I have cameras on it.
Yeah.
So that was a drag. So, from a business standpoint, you've built this thing and you guys have made this regenerative ranch process and business so that people can have access to this extremely healthy and very delicious meat. How is that going? Is it like turning out how you guys planned and kind of coming together from a game plan standpoint, or has there been struggles that you didn't foresee? Or tell us a little bit about that side.
It's definitely growing. We are loving it. It's to be in business, as you know, you've got to be passionate about it. You've got to really believe in it because it's work 24/7, but if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life, right?
That's what they say.
Yeah. So it's growing. We sell direct to consumer on our website, and here at the little store at the ranch. We sell at a couple restaurants. We are always juggling the supply and demand. Didn't have like a clear game plan, growth strategy, or any of that in the beginning. So we're 6 years in now, and we're just figuring that stuff out, like those business pieces. And we're just starting to ship the bison meat. So that's a whole new exciting
I'll bet that's
thing.
Interesting.
Yeah. We've got the box figured out, and the ice, and the you can make it 3 days depending upon weather, but you don't book a 4-day shipment or be in trouble.
It's so risky. That spoiled golden retriever I was telling you about, we buy this natural frozen food that they ship, and for the most part it's pretty good. It shows up in an insulated box. It's solid. It's frozen solid. But there was one time, and these boxes of food are not cheap. FedEx had somehow got it delayed, and it showed up rotted, and so the company shipped us another box. It wasn't a problem, but so that's kind of a risky part of it. I would think you kind of worry about that.
Yeah. In the beginning, we would send a box, and then I wouldn't sleep for 2 days till the box got to where it was supposed to be. I'd be checking the tracking compulsively, but I'm better now.
And you ship it based on whether it can get there within 3 days or not, kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. We ship. Ideally, it's UPS ground in 2 to 3 days, because UPS air is $100 on top of the order, and we get a discount from UPS, so we pass that right along to the customer. So we ship at cost, but people will ask about free shipping. It's we're not set up for free shipping. We're set up. Our prices are based on either picking it up or getting in our regional delivery.
Isn't it amazing?
Option.
The customers sometimes, with my business, what they ask for discount wise, well, how about you do it for this price? Well, I can't. I'm not here to pay your way. It's so expensive. Everything is so expensive. But Adam was telling me that you guys will, you have weekly deliveries to local areas like Spokane and Coeur d'Alene and all those areas that are kind of within a couple hours drive. Is that and people? So what's the process for that? People could jump on the website and say, "Hey, I want a bunch of ribeyes," and then you guys just deliver it locally, and then or within that 3 days. I'm just trying to get people listening, if they're interested in some healthy bison meat, how do they do that?
Yeah, so harlowranch.com, and they can choose shipping. Pick up if you're local or you just want to come. It's a great place to visit, and
it is.
It's not a bad drive.
Highly recommend it.
Yeah, or the regional delivery, and we hit North Idaho all the way down to Spokane the first Wednesday of every month, and then we hit Missoula and Kalispell on the other Wednesdays.
Oh, okay.
Typically.
So that keeps it pretty. Are you guys personally delivering it, or you got a?
It's usually me.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it you?
Yeah. I put a audio book on in the car and just go and.
Yep, that's
enjoy
my tea.
day.
That's all I do. I don't know, 600-700 miles a week for me. So.
Wow.
And I'm not a truck driver. I'm just a roofer. And you guys are going to be starting a YouTube channel.
We are.
So what's the name of the YouTube? Is it just Harlow Ranch or?
Harlow Ranch Bison Company.
Okay.
And we're targeting June for the big launch. So it'll be fun. You'll get a lot of bison shots.
There's so much opportunity to make really cool videos out here. It's a combination. I mean, I think everybody, especially you think about somebody living in, downtown San Francisco or something that might listen to this, and I think it's just fascinating to think of this life as a bison farm or rancher, right? And this lifestyle out in Montana in the wilds. You look up here, you've got grizzlies and elk and wolves and mountain lions. Everything's living up there, and you're right on the edge of that national forest line, that wild country, because I know what's behind there, right? And so that's a fascinating part for me. and this life that is so different than having an Uber Eats delivery truck down the road that can bring you, Chinese food on a drop of a hat,
Yeah.
What is that? That's something I would definitely ask. Coming out here from the lifestyle that you had, because I know how that feels. Like you were in Hawaii and everywhere else that you've been, growing up in Spokane and whatnot. Was it a shocker being this kind of? It's not like you're super remote, but it is pretty far removed from. There's not a Walmart down the road, right? Like, what's that been like for you guys?
Yeah, we're only 5 miles from town, but town is just a little town. Yeah, no Walmart. Everything's 2 hours away for Walmart or Costco. It was actually really a relief.
Was it? Is that how you felt?
Yeah, just slow down. It's like just turning the volume down on the whole noise of the world and the chaos, and just a beautiful downshift to relaxation and peace.
I would agree with it. We my daughter, the one that got the bison there, she's on the local archery team, right?
Oh, fun.
And so when she has these tournaments throughout the country, we go and we'll get like an Airbnb, and they're usually in like Salt Lake City or Helena, even Helena, and Helena's not like a big city, but you go to Salt Lake, that's a big city now.
Yeah.
And it's so weird to go from this life to all of a sudden we've got this Airbnb in town, and there's sirens and people honking their car horns and like yelling. Sometimes there's even gunshots and helicopters flying all the time. And there's so much chaos going on around you and lights everywhere. It's never just dark.
Yeah.
The streets never just stop. And I notice my blood pressure is increased when I go to and I just don't know that humans were meant to live that way. I always wonder that. And is that like a motivator as a part of this lifestyle that you've chosen? The peace and quiet and the more natural existence, I guess is a way to put it. Because that is for us, and I'm curious how that is for you and Adam.
Definitely, yeah. I can't imagine living in the city. It gets to the point where it's like there's too many stores to choose from.
Yeah.
I don't know which one to go to. I just don't even want to shop at that point,
Yeah. I know. My teenage daughters, they get all excited when we go to these big cities because they've got all these stores. And we'll hit 3, and then by the time we get to about the 4th store, they're starting to get pretty grumpy. Yeah. They're not used to that. It's not the kind of life that they think that they want to go do all that. But then when they do, it turns into this miserable experience,
Yep.
And people are just not friendly in those places too.
Right?
It's so
I had
weird.
somebody tell me, "Oh, where are you from?" Montana. "Oh, that's why you smile so much."
Yes, it
like,
is.
"Oh, okay, yeah."
I would agree with that. That is why we smile so much. And it's funny when we have visitors from the bigger cities that come and stay with us. They're like, "Man, it's crazy driving up and down your roads. Everybody's waving at us." Like, I don't know if I'm supposed to wave back or no. Wave back
You
at
better.
them. What else? Is there anything else you would want people to know about, whether it's the lifestyle or the process that you guys do that creates such optimal results for the land and the animals that we haven't talked about? Because I don't want to come out of this and think, "Oh man, I wish I would have asked her this," or have you think, "Oh man, I wish we would have talked about that." Because this place is special, Melinda. I really mean that. It's special, and I always feel good when I'm here for some reason. I just feel comfortable, and it's just a magical place.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. We really strive to make the ranch a healing place for the people, the animals, the whole ecosystem, the wildlife. And it's an honor that you noticed, know.
Well, good. Everybody does it. My wife noticed when I brought her for Shiloh's hunt and the other time, and it's just it's like people come on this place and they're somewhat awestruck, and it's just, man, it's a cool experience from the standpoint of the the beauty, the health. Anyway, I'm a broken record, but I just can't say enough good things about it. And so, where can people find outside of the Harlow? What was the website again?
The website is harlowranch.com.
Okay.
And you can buy meat there, and you can book your tours. We do the tours year-round, and you just book, and we'll put you in the back of the truck. If the day turns out to be an absolute wreck with the weather or whatever, you can certainly reschedule. No pressure on that.
Bring sunscreen and a coat.
Yes. But yeah, you can pretty much find all the info there. We do have Facebook and Instagram as well. Those are Harlow Ranch Bison, and a lot of fun content there to follow along.
The Instagram is fun. I love seeing it, especially when you guys are posting all the calving videos.
Yeah.
All the babies running around. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
So, for those of you guys listening out there, definitely check out the Instagram. It'll be in the show notes in this, and so will the website. So if you guys want to check it out, if you want to jump on and order some meat, I highly recommend it. And for those of you within like a reasonable driving distance, this is a really cool destination. It's a great tour, especially if you have youngsters in the back of the truck and you're able to feed the treats. What are those pellet things we were feeding them?
Range cake.
Range cake. I can tell you the bison really like them.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty funny.
Sure.
They're pretty comical about it. So definitely.
And we're also doing a contest. We have a contest going right now on our website. I think it's on Facebook too, to guess when our first calf is going to be born.
Oh,
so
really?
Yes, the prize is either a package of jerky if it needs to be shipped, or a pound of ground.
Nice.
If you're regional, and you just have to guess. You put in your email, of course. You're signing up for our email newsletter. Full disclosure.
At least you're honest about it.
Yes. And you guess the date and whether it's a bull or a heifer.
Oh, cool. I like that kind of stuff. Okay. Yeah, so now this episode is going to be out probably not next week, the week after. That's still going to be going, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Last year's calf, this is your only hint, was April 19th, and it was a bull.
Okay, there you go.
But it's different every year.
So we got a good month or so before this starts, materializing. I'm going to put in my own guess.
You should.
Okay, cool. All right, guys, so check it out. Check it out in the show notes. I appreciate you doing this with me. This was actually a really good educational. I think that what you're doing is really important to the future of the planet. I mean, just in general, and I wish more people kind of pursued this regenerative process. And you come out here and you'll see why, and so I appreciate you doing that, and I appreciate you joining me on the show.
Yeah, thank you. A lot of fun.
Yeah, heck yeah, we'll have to do it again sometime.
For sure.
At some point, we're going to rope Adam into doing this with us.
Yes.
So thanks out there for you guys listening. Thank you to Mystery Ranch, Easton Archery, Precision Pay, Leupold Optics, and Browning. I hope I'm not missing anybody. I've got everything kind of jumbled. I can't see my screen, so if I'm missing somebody, I apologize. But thanks again, Melinda, and we will do this again, and thanks everybody for tuning in.
Thanks, Jim.
You made it! That's the end of the episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please make sure you're following us on Instagram at The Western Huntsman, and write us a good review at Apple Podcasts. Thanks, guys. See you next time. Stay Western, and I'll see you on the mountain.